How often do you hear that we're going to Mars to create a new world, one that replaces this world? It's not like we don't have an abundance of things going for us here. For one thing, we have life, all sorts of life. We are having problems maintaining some animal species. Even some insects can't live with us. One reason is that we don't always prioritize our environment. We pollute our atmosphere, for example. We won't do this on Mars because that planet has virtually no atmosphere. What atmosphere it does have is 95% carbon dioxide. By comparison, Earth has 0.04% carbon dioxide. On Mars, the oxygen level is 0.1%, whereas on Earth it's 21% oxygen. We have a lot more atmosphere than Mars because Earth has a magnetic field that protects us. Without this magnetosphere, our atmosphere would be damaged or blown away by the solar winds. Solar winds travel through space at 1 million miles per hour, and because there is no magnetic field protecting Mars, it is constantly bombarded by charged particles from the sun that generate a lot of radiation. If you stood on Mars, you would continually receive the equivalent of 20 CAT scans. It is cold on Mars. The average temperature is minus 63 degrees Celsius compared to plus 14 degrees on Earth. As well, there is virtually no water on Mars. But let's go anyways. If all went well, it would take less than a year to fly there, providing we don't explode on the launch pad and don't crash land. You don't want to get a leaky spacesuit or, trip off a steep bank because, there's no hospitals on Mars. And don't really think too much about going home soon because that might not happen in your lifetime. Eventually, though, other spaceships arrive bringing supplies and building materials, and gradually we create some infrastructure. Okay, so that's some good news. Now, just to remind you of the bad news. As mentioned, the bad news is that Mars does not have a magnetosphere, so it cannot sustain an atmosphere. And because it has no significant source of water, plus it's extremely cold, the idea of growing a single tree, no less terraforming the whole planet, would be virtually impossible. At some point along the way, we're going to ask ourselves, if we are willing to go to another planet and try to survive against all the odds, then why shouldn't we fix our problems here first? I think that's what we should do. We all believe in managing our own home. We try to raise families that are successful. And so we do the right things along the way. So why shouldn't we manage Earth the same way? Why shouldn't we control our population? Why shouldn't we clean up our environment? Why shouldn't we implement new ways of living in order to sustain our natural resources? It's just the same as managing our own families. We do that, so we should also be thinking of successfully living on Earth.